Howdy folks, and welcome to a brand new Parry's Pickups. Now, as promised, this is the second of our Christmas episodes back in the UK. As you can see, still in the UK, and going to talk about a few more recent video games this time. And I've noticed that my camera is a bit wonky. Is that wonky? Oh, I think it's okay, isn't it? Anyway. So we're going to look at Xbox 360 first, and I've picked up a few games for 360 recently. We'll start with the oldest pickup. I bought Rumble Roses XX. Now, this was originally a PS2 game. I'm never sure if this is a sequel to the PS2 game or it's like a reworking of it or not. Never played the PS2 one. Anyway, this is the next generation of Rumble Roses. Rumble Roses is an all-girl wrestling game from Japan. Konami, actually, and yeah, it's okay. Actually, we were playing this right after playing the fantastic WWE All Stars, and this one kind of pales in comparison to that game. Of course, that's probably the greatest wrestling game, in my personal opinion, on this generation of consoles. This one feels a little bit ropey, graphics are okay, it's definitely a more simplistic game of wrestling, I'd say, even comparing it to All Stars, which is the epitome of arcade style gameplay. Yeah, it's not as refined or as well thought out, and it is what it is, basically, cheap thrills. Yeah, if you can find it cheap, it's a curious title. It's a bit wacky, but not sure if I would definitely say to you, run out and buy Rumble Roses. Probably not. But me being the fighting game completionist I am, and a fan of wrestling games, I picked it up. Took me a long time to pick this game up, by the way. It was sort of bottom of the list. As was this next game, which is features similarly scantily clad ladies, and that one is Dead or Alive Extreme 2, the sequel to the original Xbox game, which was actually quite a good game of volleyball. Of course, features lovely ladies, and really what happened in this sequel is they focused a little bit more on that and less on the actual gameplay. Not that there was a lot there to begin with. Somehow the volleyball doesn't feel quite as good. I don't know what's changed exactly, it's hard to tell. The jet ski stuff isn't satisfying enough for it to be really a worthy addition. The pool hopping's sort of the same as it was before. There's a couple of other little mini games in here as well. Tug of War, I think. And maybe a couple of other things. I don't know, I've not spent a lot of time with this just because it's okay, you know, and if you really want to play a Dead or Alive volleyball game on your 360, well, this is it right here. But it isn't really a marked improvement over the original, other than the graphics. And I have to say, the breast physics in this game, if I can indeed talk about breast physics in one of these episodes, is crazy. These things move independently of each other and move far too much than is natural. So that's actually really off-putting, and rather than being, you know, sexy or anything, it's just weird. So yeah, another game that I'd probably not bother with, even if you're a fan of the first game. If you still have the means to play an original Xbox and you want to play the volleyball game that is there, then play that instead. Oh, it's not going so well so far, is it? We've got two games which probably shouldn't even bother with. Next up, these two games sort of go together. Naruto Rise of a Ninja. Now, this is Ubisoft's Naruto game, which I'm very interested to play. It looks really bright and colourful and is following the storyline of Naruto from the very beginning. This is a series I've actually, surprisingly enough, only just started watching. Been around for ages, don't know what's taken me so long. It's really fun, and I'm really looking forward to playing through a game version of that story. And when I finish this one, I can move on to its sequel, The Broken Bond, which continues the Naruto story. I'm imagining this is very similar gameplay. I think it has some one-on-one fighting in it as well, but I can't quite remember, as may do the other one. But they're those two games. They sort of come as a package. They were fairly inexpensive, and happy to know I can get going on them. And last up for the Xbox 360, we've got Fist of the North Star, Ken's Rage 2. Now, if you watch any of my previous Parry's Pickups videos, you know I really like Ken's Rage, which I played on the PlayStation 3. I did not realise it had a sequel. And when I saw this was £6 in CEX for Xbox 360, I thought, well, I'm going to have to go for that. So, I think this also, like the Naruto game, is a continuation of the first game. I could be wrong, but I think it sort of picks up where that one finishes. So I think this will be on the back burner for a while until I finish the original one, which will take a while. But yeah, quite happy to have found that. I think quite a reasonable price as well. And as we move very swiftly along, we'll talk about through a few recent PS3 purchases. We have MMA. Now, this was a game I downloaded on the PS3 way back when, and quite liked actually. And my reason for picking it up as a physical copy is I'm trying to free up some space on my hard drive. I might have mentioned this before, and when you can find this for, I don't know, was it about a couple of quid or something, then even though I bought it once, the digital version, I kind of really want to play my Zone Avengers HD collection, which I only have digitally, and it's not a game you really end up seeing that much second hand, and I imagine it's more expensive than picking up games like this. So picked it up, it's quite fun. Unfortunately, after purchasing it, I realised it still takes up 3 gig of hard drive space. It's probably taken up more, about maybe 7 if it's a full game perhaps. So at least I save a little bit of hard drive space there. Next up, 3 games which are nothing to do with me saving up hard drive space, not games I already own. They're games I want to play and were very affordable. And that's Castlevania Lords of Shadow. Started playing this, very impressed with it. Of course, it's very similar to God of War, but it's also got that Castlevania vibe. The design is impeccable, the enemies and the environments are really well done. It's got really nice graphics. Gameplay is very similar, as I say, to God of War. You swing your whip around. It is similar to Kratos' blades, but you say there's only one whip. But yeah, plays very similar. Yeah, I haven't played too much of it. I played about 45 minutes of it on easy, because the first is a rather difficult game. I struggled a little bit with an enemy. The last enemy I thought was sort of like a mid kind of boss character. But combat is satisfying and fun, as I say, visually astounding. And I didn't know that Kojima Productions were involved with this particular game. So that's interesting. It's developed by Mercury Steam. I think that is a developer. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, if that's not just a graphics engine. But I think that was the developer in charge of this. And it's got a manual. It's always very nice. Yeah, so there we are. Lords of Shadow, £3.50. Happy with that. If you may remember, I got the sequel recently, so once I've done that, I'll go on the sequel. I've recently got really into the Hellraiser movies, and I remembered that there was a Clive Barker produced video game on this generation of consoles, and that game was Jericho. Jericho is a pretty inexpensive game, very inexpensive really, and it's a first person shooter. I did play it briefly once and I thought it was okay, but the fact it's got a, you know, an original story by Clive Barker, and I imagine the creature designs are going to be similarly entertaining. So there we are. I picked it up because I like Clive Barker's stuff. So we'll move along to Eat Lead. Eat Lead was recommended on a, I think it was a Metal Jesus Rocks Hidden Gems episode which I watched, and yeah, I was interested enough to pick this up. Again, a very affordable game, for about a couple of quid. And it's a bit of tongue-in-cheek action game, which really makes fun of its heritage and 80s action movies and such. So I haven't had time to actually give this a go yet, but I think it should be a bit of fun, bit of cheap fun, which is really the majority of these games are. I've been very cheap, and two games which I did purchase recently, actually left the cases downstairs, but I'll just mention them to you, are a Split Second, Velocity, I think it's called. It's a great racing game, available for the PS3 and Xbox 360. I bought the PS3 version. I think I got about £4.50. Bought it from CX. I didn't realise it didn't have a manual, but it doesn't really matter to me that much, because this was another game I used to own purely digitally, and again I was just buying it to free up hard drive space. So £4.50 for Split Second Velocity. And the last game I bought recently was PS3, and it was MotorStorm Apocalypse, which I got as a free download on PlayStation Plus some time ago. And yeah, it's taking up some hard drive space, so I found a copy for a £5 in game, picked it up, fortunately again, no manual, and then I saw it around CX, I think, for a quid less, and probably with a manual, but who knows. So yeah, didn't really matter to me that much. Quite happy with those two purchases. When I go back to Denmark, I'm finally going to be playing the Zone of Enders HD collection, and let's hope I even have room for my downloadable copy of Tomb Raider, which I bought I think a couple of Christmases ago now. That went on offer, and I bought a digital only version of Tomb Raider. Now this was the more recent Tomb Raider, and that's a great game, and I never got to finish it, so maybe I've got enough hard drive space for that as well. But that brings us to the end of our more modern, I say this is modern, this is last generation of games pickups now, but yeah, plenty there to enjoy. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time for, I think, the portable games episode. So thanks again, and bye for now. Game on.